I'm sure I'm gonna shock a lot of you with that statement, but it doesn't really matter what exercise you choose for your delts, for your biceps, for your triceratops. The difference between all of these exercises in the form of having more stretch, having more optimized strength curve, or more effective biomechanics, all that shit, is not nearly as important as having the right intensity, having the rests between sets long enough, and having enough total volume in the week. If I were to create like a tier list of the most important training parameters, I would literally put exercise selection on the F tier. Obviously, some exercises can be better than others. For example, overhead French press with a dumbbell can be better for tricep than just lying flat and doing a French press, because the stretch is slightly better, so it will very slightly boost hypertrophy. But again, the difference is so marginal that focusing on it can distract you from actually focusing on the right intensity, the right rest periods, and the right total volume, which are just the most important, and they will give you the most gains. Even if you choose the best exercise with the greatest stretch, with the best strength curve and biomechanics, it won't do shit to your physique if you don't assess these parameters correctly. So in this video I want to explain why that is the case and what should you actually focus on when selecting the right exercise for you. Or maybe you don't need to focus at all and you can just choose them randomly. I'm gonna explain all that in this video. But before we begin, in case you are new to this channel, my name is Karol. I have 6 years of experience with strength training and building muscle. I've tested countless different training systems, programs and methodologies, and I've built what I consider is a 10 out of 10 physique while enjoying every single workout. If you want my personal help for your training programming to make the most gains in the shortest period of time, shoot me a DM on Instagram, is the first link in the description. If I was allowed to manipulate only one parameter, it would definitely be training intensity. Intensity is just the most important. You can do everything right, but if on every single set you are further away from failure than like 2 or 3 reps, then you won't build muscle at all unless you're like a complete beginner. And if I was allowed to manipulate 2 parameters, it would actually be the weight of the exercise. Because if you don't increase the weight over time and you just keep pumping the same exact weight, sure, at first you might be able to progressively overload with doing more reps, doing more sets, doing slower eccentrics, doing a pause at the bottom, etc, etc. But sooner or later you will just have to increase the weight, the actual weight of the exercise. And that is the key to making long-term gains, progressive overload. Without this, long-term gains just don't exist. So if you are doing quality work to failure on every single set, you are progressively overloading on every single workout, and you are doing at least 8 sets per week, per muscle group, which is less than most people think they need, you will grow just fine for months. And again, having that slight stretch at the end of the exercise, or having a more optimized strength curve, all of these things increase your hypertrophy very, very slightly. And if you don't have consistency with them, if you don't enjoy doing these retarded exercises like iliac pull down, sure, it can be great for someone who actually enjoys it, because he will push it to failure, he will be consistent with it, he will add weight on a regular basis. But if you don't enjoy a certain exercise, but you still want to do it because it's the best, it's the most optimal exercise, you might not even be aware of this, but you might like half-ass the exercise. You might stop like 5 reps away from failure, and your mind will be actually convincing you that it actually was a muscular failure because you don't want to do that exercise so bad, you don't enjoy it so bad, you just don't want to do that. So let me quickly give you 4 metrics that you should look at while choosing an exercise. And this will be in order from the most important to the least important. So we start by first point, you must enjoy the exercise. So this is the most important. As I said, if you don't enjoy the exercise, you will be not consistent with it, and you might even unintentionally not be pushing to failure, even though you think you are. This is the most crazy part. And if you really like a certain exercise, for me, I really like unilateral bicep preacher curls with a dumbbell, and I always go balls to the wall, max effort with this exercise, because I just feel so good, so badass doing that exercise, you know? So yeah, pick exercises that are actually fun for you and that look just cool and you feel like a beast doing them. This will just make sure you push to failure and you are consistent with it. The second metric is the convenience of progressively overloading. So let me quickly explain what I mean by that. So as I said, progressive overload is the second most important thing while building muscle. And if the exercise doesn't really let you progressively overload, add weight comfortably, it will be hard for you to just progressively overload with that exercise. So some examples of exercises that are inconvenient for progressively overloading are like a tricep kickback or face pulls. These exercises are great, but as long as they are done with light weight. Imagine you had to do like a face pull or a tricep kickback with like 100%, your 1 rep max with these exercises. It's certain that your form would just break, and the target muscles that you are supposed to be targeted with these exercises would not be the most optimally targeted. It's just the truth. However, most popular exercises are honestly fine when it comes to convenience of progressively overloading. So you don't have to stress as much about this point, but always when you pick a new exercise, you can just ask yourself a question: if I were to do that exercise with a weight that's twice as much, so someday in the future, would I still be able to target the target muscle, to hit the target muscle conveniently? Third and fourth metrics are pretty similar, so I'm actually gonna combine them into one point, and it is the feeling you get during a set and after a set. Basically, it's always great if you can really feel the targeted muscle during a certain exercise. For example, if you do like a preacher curl with a dumbbell, some people might not be able to really feel their bicep working during a set. And if that's you, you might look for another exercise where you will feel your bicep. In my case, if I really do the full range of motion from a stretch to a contraction, I really can feel my bicep working during a set. And also after the set, I can feel like just a great pump in my bicep. So for me, preacher curl bicep curl is just a perfect exercise. I really enjoy that. I can progressively overload it conveniently. I can feel the muscle working during a set, and I can feel the pump after a set. So it's like the example of the perfect exercise. So you might try to test many different exercises. This is honestly what I did when I first started targeting my arms. I just did like 20 different exercises for my arms, and I just chose the ones that were perfect according to the metrics I give in this video. However, this point, feeling the muscle during and after a set, is not like completely necessary for muscle growth. In my first few years of calisthenics and weighted calisthenics, I pretty much didn't feel my muscles working at all, because I always did compound movements, and I still grew. So this is definitely not mandatory for growth, but again, it's just a lot of extra point if you manage to find exercises that you can check off these 2 points with, you know? Besides that, the feeling you get when you actually feel your muscle during a set and the pump you get after the set are just really fucking pleasurable and enjoyable. So these feelings will definitely give more to the enjoyment of the exercise, which is my first point. So we kind of made a loop here, and that's great, you know? If you can make sure you check off all of these points, you're definitely good. You will be able to grow for months, if not even years, with these exercises. Obviously, variety is good, but also variety is overrated. You will grow just fine if you just do the same perfect exercises for months or years, you know? And if you don't believe me, look at fucking street lifters. They just do pull-ups, they just do dips, and they are jacked as fuck. So to quickly summarize everything, forget about choosing exercises that have a nice stretch, forget about choosing exercises that have an optimal strength curve. Find exercises that make you feel your muscles during an exercise, and after the exercise you feel the pump. Find exercises that let you conveniently progressively overload, and the most importantly, find exercises that you actually enjoy. This is just the most important. If you enjoy the exercise, I'm gonna repeat myself for the 10th time, you will be consistent and you will go to failure at every set. And if you want my personal help with your training programming to make the most gains in the shortest amount of time, shoot me a DM on Instagram, it's the first link in the description. And that's all for today. Peace out.